So what was your musical experience like growing up?
Okay, well, I started playing on oatmeal boxes at the age of 3. And they had a lot to offer. Make a right here. This is Montgomery Avenue. And what happened is I graduated from the oatmeal boxes to my mother's pots and pans.
Wow.
And one day she put some water in one of the pots and it started rocking on the skillet. And she happened to notice and wanted to know why it's rocking. And I had indented it with my fingers.
Wow.
It had these dents. So she said, look, Robert, I'm gonna buy some new pots and some new pans. You dare not
making a left.
A left. I do not want you to touch them. And you can have the old ones. So I was satisfied with that because now I got my oatmeal boxes I can play on. And I have these nice pots that I can play on. And I continue to do that to the age of 12. And I decided to start my own little group. That little group when I graduated from elementary school. And I got sent to school for artwork because I'm an artist as well. And I went to Flash's Art Memorial down around 8th and Christian. And what happened as a result of my art, my drumming, I kept drumming till I was able to perform with different artists. And as a result of studying, I didn't stay to, I was studying harmony and theory, was my course. And 3 months later, I get to do a recording for Wilson Pickett, the Wicked Wilson Pickett. And I went up to I taught 2 brothers, Gerald Roberts and Charles Jules, how to play Shaker Rays. And I said, look, come on, let's go take us a gig, because when we were coming up, we called say, if you want to gig with somebody, you got to take yourself a gig.
Yeah.
So if you're good enough, then you can take a gig. If somebody ain't good, and it's just another corner player, he out. And you do it nicely, yes, because you sit in. And usually, when I would do that, the guy said, well, you sound really good. Would you consider playing? So what we did, we went to the Uptown, and I found out Wilson Pickett was performing at the Uptown. And I went in backstage and I just told him, I said, we with the group. What group? I said, Wicked Wilson Pickett. They said, oh, come in. So they let us in.
Wow.
So when I got in there, I told Pickett, I said, look, you mind if we sit in one tune with you? He said, yeah, that's different. What are those instruments you have there? I said, the Shaker Rays. And I'll be playing conga, right, of course. We played, man, and the people went off. They loved it. So he asked us, would we consider traveling to the islands with him, Bermuda and the Bahamas. And the next thing I know, after we did that, Brother Charles was too young to go overseas, but he's only 15 at the time. And he didn't want to feel responsible for him because he's not old enough. And Gerald and I, he said, well, look, the older fella, Gerald Roberts, I'll keep him and you, and you can go to Europe with us. I said, fine, I'm good with that. So I ain't go back to school.
Incredible. So let's stop right there, Robert, and let me, we're standing here in front of the John Coltrane home and in Philadelphia, and we're gonna park, and Robert and I are gonna finish our conversation in front of the house. Before we go to Sonny Rollins, I want you to talk about your experience with Wilson Pickett. Because, you know, when I was a kid, you know, going to the Apollo, you know, everybody talked about, you know, James Brown and the excitement of those shows. But I tell you, Wilson Pickett could bring the noise, too.
Oh, man, could he? Especially at the Apollo.
Yeah.
Oh, he would bring the house down. Oh, man. And one thing I liked about Pickett, we had our freedom to play because Gerald Roberts was playing the shakeré. A shakeré is a beaded gourd with beads around it. And he had a different way of shaking his gourd. He would shake, it was round like a basketball. I found it when I was in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I said, wow. I was asked for gourds, and I looked up in the air, it was hanging from the ceiling. And the lady told me they used it to ferment wine in under the ground. But I got that gourd, put beads on it, and he would shake that, and I play the congas. We did the RKOs, Newark, Washington, New York, and when he got the thing, he do like he's shouting. That was it. I mean, it's like being in a church. You know, you're trying to holiness church or whatever. He would shout, and he would do that, and he would stomp that foot, and that just roused people. And he had that kind of thing.
Yeah.
During that time, James Brown, I was at the Academy of Music, say, look, how would you like come playing with me? And I said, no, Jay, I'm sorry. I got to stay with Wilson. And that's what I did. I stayed with Wilson for 3 years.
Yeah.
And the music.
And what years were those? What years was that span? That
71, 72, and 73.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, did you play in? Did you go to Africa?
I didn't go to Africa with him.
Yeah.
So we waited till he came back, and then we continued to tour.
Yeah.
And we went to Europe. We went to Germany, Switzerland, London, and we went all through Germany. Matter of fact, it was amazing because I saw what the wine vineyards look like, and the wine and the grapes that they get to make the white wine.
Yeah.
And we played all those areas. Yeah.
You know, the thing that I find most amazing by your journey, Robert Kenyatta, is in your relationship with Philadelphia, is that you cross over music genres very, very easy. And I want you to tell me why you think that's so before we get into Sonny Rollins, because I really want to get into Sonny Rollins with you. But I want you to explain to me your ability to cross music genres so easily, and tell me what that process is like.
Well, what happens is that early, by playing with such jazz greats, such as Hassan Ibn Ali, along with, say, the artist, his artistry was sort of, I don't like to say like Thelonious Monk, but he played in what I would say in that kind of category.
Yeah.
And Ornette Coleman, because I listened to a lot of Ornette Coleman, and they're fusing their ideas and music style with jazz was different than most musicians. And Odine Pope at first had a different sound. So as I went into being able to play the R&B, sort of the jazz, church music, I kind of combined those things together, where I was able to hear what each of those musics presented.
Yeah.
And in collaborating with that, I meshed together that feeling.
What about some of the musicians that you played with, some of the singers and different performers that you had performed with?
Well, one early back during the day was a singer called Seal Minor. And she passed later on. I think she had some type of kidney ailment or something. Ruth Brown, remember Ruth Brown?
Yeah, I know Ruth Brown very, very well.
Right, I was at the Academy of Music with her, performing a big band. And
what tunes did she do?
She did, I think one of my favorites was Funny.
Yeah.
You remember Funny?
Yeah.
I did that. And then she did a list of other ones there, of course. And let me see. I can't think of now. About 2-3 other vocalists that I did there, but mainly all the vocalists in Philly knew me.
Right.
So I did a lot with the different musicians, vocalists here in Philly. As far as the musicians, it came, this is before I went with Sonny Rollins. I got a chance to sit in with Stanley Turrentine.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Right. Stanley Turrentine, the trumpet player, of course, Lee Morgan.
Yeah, oh man, yeah.
And then I had a group. We were in a group called the Visitors. Earl and Carl Grubbs were John Coltrane's nephews.
Right.
Okay. And quite naturally, going back and forth to New York and staying here, I don't know if you ever heard of Odin Pope.
Absolutely.
And Hassan Ibn Ali.
Yes, absolutely.
Odin lived across the street from me. Next door to him was Sherman Ferguson, which they had a group called Catalyst with Tyrone Brown. Yeah, and
incredible.
They used to all come to his house. And when I would go to his house, I would ask him to write out tunes. One of my first tunes I learned to play was St. Thomas. I asked Odin to give me the music to Miles Davis tune, one of Miles Davis tunes, Kinda Blue, because I like that.
Yeah.
So I could go share it on my flute. One thing I had, he said, man, he used to say all the time, your armature is so clear. I had a good armature.
Yeah.
So he would write down triads and things like that for me, and some chords, and I'd go home and study that on the flute. Unbeknown that playing the drum, which a lot of drummers play flute and other instruments, but for some reason I wasn't supposed to play the flute, and I wanted to know why. You know, but my armature, I had a good armature, but my focus was supposed to be on the drum.
You know, you've had a tremendous career in music and culture, not only in the city of Philadelphia, but pretty much all over the world.
Yes.
And I was talking to Warren Smith, who sends his regards. And Warren, I got to get back to New York to talk to Warren, because he was Janis Joplin's musical director.
Oh, wow.
And I had to capture that story.
Right.
But in my conversations with you, you had mentioned that you had spent time with the Beach Boys.
Yes.
And I would be remiss if I didn't capture a little bit of that story, brother.
Right. Now, look, I'll just show you what happened. After 3 years with Wilson Pickett, I decided that I wanted to go with the Beach Boys. And what happened is I got a chance to get in the group, right? Because they had a drummer. And somehow the drummer ain't work out. I think he nodded out on the stage or something. So they say they can't have that, you know what I mean? So I wound up getting this gig with the Beach Boys, and I worked with them for 1 year. So I was compensated well enough. After a year, I had come back to Philadelphia on an off break, and I sat in with Sonny Rollins.
Wait a minute now, hold on. I can't let you segue into Sonny Rollins just yet.
Right.
I gotta stay with the Beach Boys.
Okay.
Because the only reason why I'm gonna stay with the Beach Boys, and I'll tell you why. Now you're with this iconic rock group that go out pretty much every night, and they perform before thousands of people.
Whoa.
In venues, stadiums, and large venues all over the world. And you have to share with me what that experience is like.
Well, I'm going to tell you, for number one, I was sort of afraid being on the stage that if at any time 80,000 people rushed towards the stage they would knock over the stage. And while on stage, I used to see little flying objects come past my face. And I would duck, and I hear something go ting-a-ling-a-ling-ling.
Incredible.
They would throw money up there on stage.
Wow.
And put all the money and coins in my pocket.
Incredible.
And I mean, that pocket was full.
Yeah. Now I got to ask you about the Beast Boy charts. You know, they're an iconic rock group. And talk about playing those charts as opposed to playing, let's say, like Wilson Pickett or Sonny Rollins. Talk about those particular charts, those iconic songs that they produce. Talk about your mindset in playing some of those charts.
Well, what I had in mind, which I had as I was playing those charts, is that African jazz, blues feeling in my drum. And one thing I learned early playing the congas, I can play the melodies of their tunes on my drum.
Right.
That's what made me stand out with most of the jazz artists. Oh, when I gave me a solo, 64-bar solo, a chorus, I'd play the melody. And in my head, I would hum the last 4 bars to let them know I'm finished so y'all can come back in.
Incredible.
And they would be, oh, this guy know what he doing. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, Good Vibrations was my favorite too.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I would play Good Vibrations, Surf It Girl. I would do that with the feeling of the tradition that I have in me of my jazz, my Africanism, my blues, and all that in their music. And they liked it because it gave them a different feeling too.
Real popular individual here in the city of Philadelphia. And the reason why I say that, since the hour that we've been here, people have been coming by blowing their horns, they've been stopping, they take pictures of you. And I think that's a testament to your commitment to this city,
Yes.
your commitment to the culture of this city, your commitment to the music, the way you cross musical genres, to me is totally amazing. And Robert Kenyatta, I want to say thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate being here in Philadelphia with you. I can't wait to get back so that we can talk more. But it's been just a great pleasure for me to be here with you, man. And thank you so much.
And thank you ever so much. And I appreciate what you're doing with the jazz musicians and helping jazz musicians to get their story told, which is very important as well. So that I could feel.
I have to say hello to my daughter.
Oh my gracious, it's one of the sisters I play with.
Really?
Yes. She dances. She's a
Wow.
dance. Angela. Yes, indeed.
Come over and
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, this is a prize. Oh my goodness. We're just doing a taping about John Coltrane and me playing with John Coltrane.
oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's beautiful. I know it's gonna be all right now.